I will start off with my pizza place class. So here's my pizza place. And like we mentioned, this will have few attributes. So real quick here, my pizza place class, here's my implementation for it. I have a name, a phone number, an array list for the crust, another for the sizes, the ingredients, and the orders. Here I have my getters and setters, and I only have the one constructor that will take a name and a phone number, and everything else will be set to blank. Now I'm getting those errors, meaning that the compiler is not able to resolve these symbols. It doesn't know what order mean or what sizes are. We're still gonna have to create those classes. Next up, I'm gonna create actually those classes just so I get those errors resolved. Here I have my chargeable interface, which means that any class that will implement this interface will have to have a method called getPrice that will return back a double. So I start with my size class, which implements chargeable. It has a few attributes such as the name, the radius, and the price. Here's my constructor, and all the way at the bottom, as soon as I implement the getPrice method, that basically means that I'm satisfying this condition here, or this contract here. Same goes for crust, which is almost the same except that I don't have a radius anymore, and same goes for the ingredients. Now I still have to implement the orders class, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. New Java class called order. This will have an array list of type pizza, which we haven't implemented yet. I'll call this pizzas, and let's create our constructors and getters and setters. Actually, I don't need to pass in anything in there, so this will be a new empty array list of type pizza. If we go back to our UML diagram, we still have to have a method called getTotal, and another to display the receipt, and another to add a pizza. Let's create this real quick. So I'll create one that will add new pizza to the order. So public void, I'm gonna call this add pizza. It will take a pizza and it will add it to our array list. Now it's still throwing some errors because pizza hasn't been implemented yet. Let's create another getter for this in case we wanted to get a list of all the pizzas we've ordered so far. Here's that. Let's create another class that will return a string, and I'm gonna call this get or display. Actually, it makes sense to be get receipt. And so right now I'm just gonna have it return an empty string. We're gonna have to modify this implementation later on. Let's also have a public that will return a double, and this is called get total. And again, I'm just gonna have this to return a 0 for now. We're still gonna have to modify this implementation. Now let's go ahead and create our pizza class. Here's new Java pizza. Add it, sure. Let me look back at my UML diagram. So we're gonna have a crust, size, and an array list, of ingredients. So let's do that real quick. We're gonna have crust, crust. Also have the size. We're gonna have an array list of ingredients. Okay, let's create the constructors and the getters and setters. Generate the constructor. Problem sure. Yeah, we can do this actually. Also gonna have to create some getters and setters. Let's do that as well. Generate getters and setters for all of them. The thing I'm gonna modify here is for the setters. For the set ingredients, I'm actually gonna have this to be add ingredients. And in this case, this will be getting an ingredient. And we're just gonna want to add this to our ingredients. So dot add, here's that. Okay. Now finally here my pizza class will have a get total method. So this will be public double called get total, and now this will have to add up the price for the sizes, the crust, and all the ingredients. So I'm gonna create a double variable. I'm gonna call this total. I'm gonna set it to 0 for now, and total will plus equal size dot get price, and then total will plus equal crust dot get price. And now we're gonna have to loop over our array list of ingredients and add up the prices for everything that we have there. So to do that, for ingredient X in the array list that is called ingredients, we're gonna do total plus equal X dot get price. Again, to explain this real quick, instead of having to instantiate a counter variable, here I'm kind of looping over each ingredient in ingredients, and I'm adding up that ingredient price to the total. And finally, we just need to return back this variable. Okay, perfect. Now all of our errors have gone away. Now I'm gonna go back to my pizza place class, and I'm gonna modify the constructor a little bit to add up some default values for these array lists. So here I've populated some default values for sizes, the crusts, and ingredients. Let's go back to the orders, and I'm actually gonna modify the get totals here, and similar to how we did it on the pizzas, I'm gonna loop over the pizzas and add up all their totals. So let's do that real quick. Here we're gonna have a double called total, and we're gonna loop over pizzas, and for each pizza, total will equal X dot get total. This might not have been initialized. Oh, you have to do it like this. And return back total. So now I think we're kind of ready to start building our actual interface. Let me see if I missed anything. No, that's good. Now we're gonna start building our user interface, and today I want to combine the traditional way of setting up the layout with code and all, and another way that you can actually do it by just dragging and dropping the elements of your form. So to do that, I'm gonna go to source, create new, and today I'm gonna select GUI form. I'm gonna call this pizza GUI, and doesn't matter what base layout manager you pick at this point. Actually, I'm gonna change this to a border layout. Okay, and I'll hit enter. So this creates two files for you, the pizzagui.form and a pizzagui.java. Java is basically where it will auto-populate all the code that you used to write yourself. Technically, you will not be able to see it unless you enable that in the preferences, but I'm actually going to leave it as is for now. And I'm going to start building my layout here. Let's add those. Okay. Now when I click on any form or any element on my page, it will show you some properties here. So because we set this up to be a border layout, we're using the border layout for this panel. This is what it's showing up in the values here. I'm gonna modify this, and I'm gonna call it main panel. Inside my main panel, I'm gonna create 3 main or 4 main panels here. Let's see how we can do that. So I'm just gonna drag and drop the J panel onto my form here. I'm gonna drag another one, put it at the bottom, and another one in the west. If you look here on the right, it actually shows you where it's going to be placed. So it says main panel west, and I'm gonna get a fourth one and I'm gonna place it at the center. I can go back to all of these and rename them basically. So this one here, the one on the top, I'm gonna call this label panel. The one at the bottom, or the one on this one, is which? This is the center one, so this is the receipt. This is where we're gonna display the receipt. The receipt panel. This one here is the one at west. This is my options panel, and this is the one at the south, which is my buttons panel. Now, when you're nesting panels, you can actually pick a different layout manager for each one of those. So I'm actually gonna go to the buttons panel, and I'm gonna make this a grid layout, and I'm gonna drag and drop 3 buttons here. One here, one here, and one all the way at the end. So I'm gonna go to my first button, and this is my quit button. It will update the field name for you, which is a great thing I found here. I'll go, my second button is gonna be my order button, and the last will be my clear. Okay, now for my options panel, I'm also gonna change that to a grid layout, and here I'm gonna drag 3 panels, one on the top, one, let me see, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. Didn't actually place it, did it? No. Here you go. Here's the third one. All right, so my first panel here, the one on the top, this is gonna be my crusts panel. This is where I'm gonna put all the crusts options. The second one is my sizes, and the third is gonna be the toppings. So toppings panel. Now I can change those. I change their border type to be a line, and I can give it a title. So this is gonna be my crusts. This is my sizes, and make sure it's of type line. And the third, again, also a line, and it's gonna be titled toppings. If you don't see this, I mean, I think I modified the width just a little bit here. You don't have to worry about that. It's all gonna work out when you actually run the application. Now I'm not gonna actually place any of the checkboxes. This is one of the things I'm gonna do dynamically or programmatically using the traditional way that you should be already familiar with. And I'll show you why I did that. But before we're done, let's actually make sure that our receipt panel here is also set up. So I'll go to my receipt panel, and I'm gonna drag and drop a scroll pane. And inside that scroll pane, I'm gonna drag and drop a text field. This is gonna be my receipt text field. All right. What else do we need to do? Let's work on the label panel. I'm gonna drag and drop 3 labels. Actually, before I do that, let's make sure that this is a grid layout. Again, this is all design things what I'm doing, so it's not set in stone really. It's up to how you want to design your application. I just came up with this design, and I'm just working off of that. So for my panel, let's drag the labels. Here is one on the left, one on the right, and one in between. All right, so for the one in between, this is actually where I'm gonna put the actual store name, and the 2 on the right, I'm just gonna place an image, like a pizza image or something. Just again, it's a design decision. Let's modify the label in the middle, and I'm gonna call this pizza. Now, again, we're gonna have to modify this programmatically using whatever value comes from the pizza place class. Let's do the icons for the other two. You pick icon. I don't have the image there yet. Let me pause the video, I'll get the images and I'll come back again. Alright, so I created a folder under source called assets, and there I have a pizza image and a quit button image, and I'm gonna use those. So I'll go back to my form. Here it is. Let's make sure that this is still open. Alright, I'm gonna select this label, and I'm gonna change its icon to be the pizza image. Go to source, assets, pizza image, hit OK. Right, I'll go to my middle one and I'm gonna change its font. So I'll click on this. I'm gonna make this a little bigger, so I'll change the size to 24 maybe. And let's select another font. This is okay, but it has to be smaller. All right, here we go. And here I have my initial setup of my layout. Now I want to run the application and see how everything looks like. But before I do, I want to make sure that my class here extends JFrame, and I'll save that. Let me now go and kind of create the constructor. So generate constructor of, I'll use that second one here, or the third one. Do we need to initialize anything else? I'll just say no for now, select none. I don't need any of those documentation, I'll just delete it. Okay, all right, so now I'm gonna go back to my program, and here I wanna initialize or instantiate my form, pizza place. Now, technically this again should come from the pizza place class. So let's do that actually. Pizza place class, and I'm gonna call this just pizza place, new pizza place. What do I need to pass into the constructor? Let's go back here. Just the name and a phone number, I believe. Yep. So I'll go back there. Now this title here is actually gonna be pizza place get name. This is good. Few more things. Have to go back to my GUI application, and in my constructor I'm gonna set or gonna add whatever the main panel is. I need to add this to the JFrame, so I'm just gonna call add main panel. And this main panel kind of nests all the other elements within it. So after I add it, I'm gonna do set size, and let's say, I don't know, 600 by 800 or 800 by 600, we'll see. And then set visible to true, and set default close options to JFrame dot exit and close. Let's save, and let's go back to our program and see if that runs. And it actually popped up on another window here. Let's see if I can drag it there. Here we go. Here's our application. If I click on any of those buttons, they don't do anything. This is just a text area. It shouldn't be editable. We're gonna have to change that. And finally, if I click the close button, it will shut down the application. All right, so that's a good start. Let's see what we can do from there.